Hi guys, this is Vitaly with AFT Dispatch and A2C Logistics, and in today's video, I'd like to dissect a very informative article by Mr. Craig Fuller, the CEO of FreightWaves. But first, roll the intro. Welcome back. Now, before we get started, I'd like to ask you to please like the video, be sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a single release of our videos, where every Friday we're talking about something that could benefit you in your trucking businesses, in your trucking careers, as well as cover the loads we've successfully booked for our customers, consisting of leased down owner operators and carriers operating under their own MC authorities, running under our truck dispatch services. As always, guys, big thank you for all the likes you provided in all the previous videos. Please do keep them coming, and let's talk about what's going on in the freight industry. Why is it happening, and when are things going to change? Now, Mr. Craig Fuller, the CEO of FreightWaves, he produces fantastic content. I've taken some notes from a very interesting article that he recently wrote. I'll leave a link to the article in the description box below. Definitely take a look at what he's got to say, as well as some of his other postings that are out there. I've always found him to be always on point and very, really right on the money, if you will. And I have to say, I do agree with what he has to say here. In fact, he actually says that the recent slowdowns in the U.S. truckload market is likely a precursor to a steeper decline in the coming weeks. Now, this was posted less than a week ago, so this is looking at the near future. Now, the reason I'm even making this video is because we've received so many phone calls from people that are really concerned about what's going on in the trucking industry, what's going on with the freight rates, and they're afraid they're not going to make money. Now, remember, there's no business out there that consistently makes money nonstop. Everything is cyclical, and so is the freight market, right? So, the guys who've been in this business for many years, they've been through many different cycles. And unfortunately, many of you guys have never experienced a negative cycle. And this is all it is. What comes up must come down, and vice versa is also true. Now, what Mr. Fuller says, this is a quote, he says that this summer, the trucking market could have one of its steepest declines in recent years, and there is an entity that deserves much of the blame: the Chinese Communist Party and its draconian and inhumane lockdowns. End of quote. Now, here's the thing. We've talked about the lockdowns. One of our recent videos was about the Chinese lockdowns out in Shenzhen. We've talked about the port stopping or slowing down their workforce and the percentage of production. So what we're seeing here is an exacerbation of that condition. Now, the abrupt drops in container outflows from China in 2019 and 2022 happened almost exactly 3 years to the day, which means the freight market seasonal calendar was roughly identical and makes for easy comparables. Well, that basically says that we're going through a cycle. We saw the same exact thing in 2019 as we're seeing now in 2022, almost to the day. Everything was exactly the same. Though the major difference this time around is we have very expensive diesel, and that's affecting everyone. So definitely something that you should account for when looking at your operating costs, to get an idea where your fixed as well as your variable expenses are, to come up with your break-even bottom dollar. Now, guys, container imports from China represent approximately 16% of U.S. truckload volumes and an even larger percentage of U.S. dry van truckloads. So what this says is that 16%, nearly 1/5 of all of our truckloads throughout the United States are reliant on Chinese production. What happens when China shuts down their ports, locks down the people, the workers aren't there, raw materials aren't coming in and out, products are not shipping? Well, we're going to feel that, and we're already feeling that. But again, the worst is yet to come. Now, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and now Beijing will be going into a lockdown. The 3 largest cities in China are going to be removed from the world market. Exactly what we just talked about. Now, in previous videos, we've talked about Shanghai, we've talked about Shenzhen, but now we got Beijing, and everyone thought that Beijing would be spared, and it would not be the case. But look, they're going into lockdown. Now, furthermore, at least 40% of China's GDP has been taken offline, and this was before the lockdowns began in Beijing. So 40% of their GDP is tied down to this. Guys, The immensity of this is absolutely extraordinary. Now, only 20% of Shanghai's trucking capacity is operating. Now, last week or a couple weeks ago, we talked about Shenzhen, where 9 out of 10 of their trucks were sitting on the sidelines. You got to understand that the trucks are moving raw materials to manufacturing plants. They're taking finished product and bringing it to the ports for shipping, to warehouses. However they do it. So the point is that they need trucks to be operating, and when the majority of the trucking industry is frozen solid and it's not moving, that's not helping our case either. Now, furthermore, this is something that you really want to pay attention to. It basically says that it currently takes 27 days for a vessel to travel from a Chinese port to a US port. 27 days. Now, it takes approximately 10 days to 3 weeks after a vessel arrives in the US before the containers that traveled on board enter the domestic surface freight market, or otherwise known as trucking. So it takes 10 days to 3 weeks for that product to come off the ships and get onto or inside your trailers. Now, California hasn't been, exactly wonderful about unloading these containers from the container ships. So maybe we ought to add some more days or weeks onto that, or as we've seen, months to get these, get this product off of the ships. Now, so we have to be mindful about how our domestic policies are going to enter in and how quickly they're going to turn this around. Finally, Mr. Fuller says this would put a slowdown in trucking freight volumes related to Chinese imports between, and get these calendar dates down on your calendar, May 13th and May 24th. In my personal opinion, I believe that we're going to start seeing, increases in freight or normalization back to, the loads and the rates that you were used to seeing. And we're going to see this closer to the end of summer, late summer. But it could be, as close as the end of May. Now, guys, if you have any questions, comments, anything, I'd love to hear from you guys. I think this is a very important article. This is a very important piece of information that should be discussed, and I'd love to hear your take on it. Please leave your comments, questions, concerns, whatever you got, your thoughts, leave them in the comment section below. Please make sure to smash that like button for us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm going to switch over to camera. We're going to look over the loads we booked for our customers. I'll see you guys in just a moment. Welcome back. Let's take a look at some of these loads. Now, I do want to remind you that these are top paying loads for the week, so not every customer is going to get these types of rates or these types of averages. But with that said, I do want to mention that we are helping customers retain more of their money so that they have a softer landing instead of, the feeling of toppling down a cliff. And that's kind of the feeling that a lot of the people in the trucking industry are feeling right now, with the rates having declined so rapidly and by so much. Now, we're going to start off with a reefer. Starting out in Indiana, Pennsylvania, going to Beacon Falls, Connecticut. This is a 20,000 pound dry load. It's a load of clothing, 405 miles, booked at $16.70, got on $4.12 per mile. Then Rocky Hill, Connecticut to Elkton, Maryland. It's a 38,000 pound load of groceries. This load is running 34 degrees on a reefer, 245 miles, booked at $1,000, got on $4.08 a mile. Then Newcastle, Delaware to Tip City, Ohio. It's a 42,000 pound load of bananas, running 57 degrees on a reefer, 525 miles, booked at $1,100, got on $2.10 per mile. Then Minster, Ohio to Bedford, Pennsylvania. It's a 27,000 pound load of grocery products at 34 degrees on a reefer, 367 miles, booked at $1,700, got on $4.63 a mile. Then Winchester, Virginia with a 1-pick 2-dropper to Killingly, Connecticut and Lebanon, Connecticut. It's looks like a 38,000 pound load of dairy products, running 35 degrees on a reefer, 481 miles, booked at $1,800, got them $3.74 per mile. And I finished off real strong out of Jamesburg, New Jersey, going to Allentown, Pennsylvania. It's a 42,000 pound load of coconut cream, running at 50 degrees on the reefer. It's only 86 miles, but booked this one at $1,000, got them $11.63 per mile. So excellent job. This is a reefer running Wednesday to Wednesday. Ended up grossing $8,270 during that week. Ran 2,109 loaded miles at an average of $392 per loaded mile average. Excellent job. What this driver did is ran strictly in the Northeast, and ran short miles. If that's your cup of tea, give it a shot. That might be the way to go. The money is definitely in the Northeast and the Midwest at the moment. Next, we got ourselves a dry van coming out of Gainesville, Georgia, going to Pottsville, Pennsylvania. It's a 43,000-pound load of dry goods, 724 miles, booked at 2120, got them $293 a mile. Then Macungie, Pennsylvania to Early Beach, South Carolina. It's a 15,000-pound load of consumer goods, 708 miles, booked at $1,700, got them $240 a mile. Then Charleston, South Carolina to Crossville, Tennessee. It's a 22,000-pound load of dry goods, 441 miles, booked at $1,450, got them $329 a mile. And then finished off with Crossville, Tennessee to St. Albans, New York. This is a 42,000-pound load of tile, 795 miles, booked at $3,000, got them $377 a mile. Again, these drivers did very, very well. In fact, this driver, all of these are solo, no teams loads this week. Now, they only actually stayed on the road for 6 days, running from Friday to Thursday. And in those 6 days, they grossed $8,270 on their dry van, running 2,668 loaded miles at an average of $310 per loaded mile average. So very well done there. 6 days, almost $8,300. Next, a reefer out of Piedmont, South Carolina, going to Orlando, Florida. It's a 33,000-pound load of frozen foods, running -10 on a reefer, 530 miles, booked at $2,000, got them $377 a mile. Then Cape Canaveral, Florida, going to Arcadia, Florida. It's a real quick local run, 38,000-pound load of food and beverages, running -10 on a reefer, 187 miles, booked at $1,200 in Florida, got them $642 a mile. Then in McAllen, Florida, going to South Plainfield, New Jersey. It's a 42,000-pound load of bell peppers, running 45 degrees on a reefer. That's 1,216 miles, booked at $3,800, got them $313 per mile. Mind you, coming out of Florida, going to New Jersey at $313 a mile. Then they finished off with Mercetown, Pennsylvania to Tampa, Florida. It's a 42,000-pound load of alcoholic beverages, running 35 to 40 degrees on a reefer, 1,073 miles, booked at $3,000, got them $280 per mile. These guys also ran for 6 days of work on the road, running Tuesday to Monday. Grossed exactly $10,000 during that 6-day period, ran 3,006 loaded miles at an average of $333 per loaded mile average. So excellent job. 6 days again. Next, we got ourselves, let's take a look here. It's a dry van coming out of Martin, South Carolina, going to Maine. 38,000-pound load of carton, 1,148 miles. Booked at $3,800, got them $331 a mile. Then Poland Spring, Maine, going to East Hanover, New Jersey. It's a 33,000-pound load of dry goods, 361 miles, booked at $1,300, got them $360 a mile. Then Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania to Greer, South Carolina. It's a 44,000-pound load of Morton salt, 647 miles, booked at $1,530, got them $236 a mile. And then Charlotte, North Carolina to Tallahassee, Florida. It's a 20,000-pound load of electric scooters, I suppose. 470 miles, booked at $1,600, got them $340 per mile. These guys ran for 7 days, Friday to Friday, ended up grossing $8,230 in their regular dry van, ran 2,626 loaded miles at an average of $313 per loaded mile average. Very well done. Next, we got ourselves a reefer out of Mason City, Iowa, going to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It's a 44,000-pound load of food products at 33 degrees on a reefer, 1,101 miles, booked at $4,050, got them $368 a mile. Then Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, no deadhead, going to Brattleboro, Vermont. 40,000-pound load of frozen foods, running -10 on a reefer, 317 miles, booked at $1,800, got them $568 a mile. Then finished off with maybe Machias, Maine, going to Kansas City, Missouri. It's a 43,000-pound load of frozen blueberries, running -10 on a reefer, 1,749 miles, booked at $4,200, got them $240 a mile, going to Missouri. These guys ran for 7 days, ended up grossing $10,050 for the week, 3,167 loaded miles, running Monday to Monday at an average of $317 per loaded mile average. Next, we got ourselves a dry van coming out of Edwardsville, Illinois, going to Spokane, Washington. It's a 44,000-pound load of Shep, or what are they called? Shep USA Blue pallets. 1,818 miles, booked at $5,820, got them $320 a mile on lots of miles. And then they ran Superior, Montana to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. It's a 45,000 pound load of dry goods, 1,620 miles, booked at $35.50, got them $2.19 a mile, going to a great market. They ran for a week from Friday to Friday, grossed $9,370 in their regular dry van, ran 3,438 loaded miles at an average of $273 per loaded mile average. And we're going to finish off with a reefer out of Dallas, Texas, going to Olney, Illinois. It's a 32,000 pound load of food products, running 33 to 39 in a reefer, 764 miles, booked at $2,170, got them $284 per mile. Then St. Louis, Missouri to Council Bluffs, Iowa. It's a 45,000 pound load of beer, 429 miles, booked at $1,600, got them $373 per mile. Then Oakland, Iowa, going to Taylorsville, Illinois. It's a 36,000 pound load of frozen food at -10, 465 miles, booked at $1,500, got them $323 a mile. Then Decatur, Illinois to Dyersburg, Tennessee. It's a 39,000 pound load of general goods, dry load, 312 miles, booked at $1,100, got them $353 a mile. And they finished off with Brownsville, Tennessee to New Brockton, Alabama. It's a 40,000 pound load of frozen food at -10 in a reefer, 440 miles, booked at $2,200, got them $5 a mile on a dot. And these guys ran for a week, Friday to Friday, grossed $8,570 during the week in a reefer, ran 2,410 loaded miles at an average of $356 per loaded mile average. And guys, as you can see, people are making money. If your operating costs are under control, this is a really fantastic income. Back in the day, we used to have lower operating costs, but we were working for, if we had $5,000 a week and we were doing that for 4 weeks, $20,000. If you hit over $2 a mile, you were doing great. As you can see, all of these guys have definitely, beat those numbers by, sometimes double that. So realistically, as long as your operating costs are under control, you're doing fine. If not, you need to have you need to have an understanding of what you're doing wrong, because even if you have to lose a little money, let's say freight goes down to less than $2 a mile, you need to be in a position where you're going to get the very most that the market has to offer, because the most important thing is to stay in business. They go up and down, the freight markets, right? But if you're out of business, if you went out of business, if you shut down, you're not going to be able to take advantage of the ups. Right? So even if you have to lose a little money, it's worth it to stay in business so you can take the higher end when the rates do come up, because a lot of companies will go out of business. Guys, if you don't want to go out of business, if you want to make top dollar from the market in any market conditions, whatever the market offers, our guys will squeeze that money out of these brokers, freight forwarders, 3PLs, direct shippers, what have you. We have them available. Give us a call or text us at 801-448-6363, or go to our website at aftdispatch.com/go. You can fill out our chat box at any one of our web pages, get more information. Most importantly, don't sit around on your laurels. Do not be complacent. Take advantage, get in, start working, and get through this tough period so you can take advantage of the good times to come. Until next week, guys, stay healthy, be wealthy. Take care.